Now, this is a story that has largely been buried by the ecosystem. It's a scandal much bigger than the Epstein files. Let me just say this at the outset, that no civilized nation should have ever faced this or should face this. The report on Britain's rape gang is out. 250,000 innocent girls, that's the number, raped, drugged, beaten, trafficked and brutalized for decades. I'm calling it the Holocaust of innocence. And viewers, the Pakistani connection is undeniable. The report has mind-numbing testimonies. Girls as young as 11 passed around like meat between gangs of men, mostly of Pakistani origin, raped by hundreds, some even by dogs. Yes, part of the report, forced into cars, hotels, houses across 149 towns and cities. This was systematic, it was organized, industrial scale exploitation. And do you know why this went on for so long? Let me tell you why. Because of political correctness. Because of fear, viewers, fear of being called racist, fear of hurting community relations, sentiments, etc. Police, social workers, council, even the NHS all looked the other way. Reports were ignored. Victims were blamed. Can you believe it? Evidence was buried because the perpetrators belonged to a vote bank. Labour, Conservatives, everyone was terrified of losing Muslim votes. So they betrayed their own daughters. This is a massive institutional failure. The system that was supposed to protect the girls failed them completely. Girls from broken homes, in care, easy targets, groomed with gifts, drugs, then raped repeatedly. And the silence of establishment made it worse. They chose political correctness over child safety or justice. They chose votes. Viewers, the British establishment has lost all moral right to call itself Great Britain. There is nothing great about patronizing rape gangs, covering up for predators, and sacrificing your own daughters for few votes. From being an empire on which the sun never set, Britain has now sunk into a darkness of their own making. In fact, the sun has set forever on any claim to greatness until they face this monster they helped create. Viewers, while Britain's shame is complete, and this is not just Britain's story, this is a loud and clear lesson for India and the entire world. We cannot, viewers, afford denial. We cannot hide behind secularism when our daughters are being targeted. Political vote banks must can't come before the safety of our children, and it's happening world over in the name of multiculturalism. We must name the problem, we must confront the ideology and the patterns that enable it. No more excuses, no more looking the other way to protect community sentiments, etc. There should be zero tolerance. Fast-track courts, deport foreign offenders, severe punishments for the perpetrators. The UK rape gang report has shown the world what happens when a nation loses its moral courage. Britain paid for its silence with the bodies and souls of 2.5 lakh innocents. Let India learn this painful truth today. And without any delay, let me open this up. Pandit Satish Sharma ji, author, dharmic scholar, fellow of the Royal Asiatic Society, London, and director of the Global Hindu Federation. Manu Khajuria, member of the Indian diaspora from UK. Tushar Gupta stays on. Sushil Pandit ji. And Hamid Khan is a journalist. He joins us this evening. Pandit Sharma, we knew that this is the reality. Now it is documented in form of this independent report.
Yes, this has been known for a long period of time. I personally convened a gathering in the British Parliament 8 years ago, and I brought Tapan Ghoshji from Bharat all the way to the British Parliament to be able to tell them what was happening with regard to Bharatiya Hindu girls at the hands of the same religious demographic. And we really paid a price. In those days, shadow banning had never been heard of, but as a consequence of the talk and the data that we revealed, I was pretty much shadow banned for the best part of 8 years. We convened a meeting with the BBC. They spent a whole day recording testimony from myself, from Lord Singh, from other members, from the Pakistani Christian associations, all of us complaining and giving evidence to the BBC that this is a phenomenon and it needs to be addressed. And the BBC canned that particular documentary in its entirety. This has happened now, and it's happened despite the efforts of the British establishment. You know, there's one small paragraph which I think is worth noting in the whole of the report, and it actually says, politicians received direct briefings, sat in multi-agency meetings, read internal intelligence, and still denied knowledge, blocked inquiries, and silenced critics in order to cleave to Muslim voting blocs. This was not ignorance of the crimes, but calculated, repeated, nationwide abandonment of children. 149 local authority districts all over the country, 250,000 plus victims. And just to emphasize, that's 250,000 individual victims. Each of those were desecrated multiple times. In many cases, hundreds of crimes were inflicted upon one person.
They were violated and blamed by the authorities, the system, establishment, what have you. Sushil Pandit, what should one make of this?
Thank you for having me on your show, Pranesh. Let me give you a small fact. Crown Prosecution Service, which is responsible for prosecuting these animals, these barbarians, admitted publicly that we have failed the victims. This was way back in 2012. And you know who was heading the Crown Prosecution Service at that time as Director of Public Prosecution? The Prime Minister today, Keir Starmer. Sir Keir Starmer was head of public prosecution. This is the level of complicity. Of the Greater Manchester Police, there was a cop, a lady detective called Margaret Oliver. She resigned from her service because her seniors were more interested in clamping down on investigation than prosecuting the criminals. It is because the public prosecution has failed the victims that MPs have started their own initiative for privately prosecuting these victims and packing them off from UK. This is the level of breakdown in the criminal justice system with respect to this particular case. In fact, a senior Labour leader, Jack Straw, when the scandal broke out, said about Pakistani Muslim men, specifically identifying them, that they treat our daughters like easy meat. He's on record having said this, and there was huge criticism for being politically incorrect, for identifying people, for racially profiling the perpetrators.
You're right. This sense of woke denialism is, all around us today. Hamid Khan, how do you see this report?
Very much. It's a very sensitive topic, so I will request, let me speak, without any interruption. It's very sensitive. Okay. There is no doubt that these grooming gangs, these perpetrators must be brought to justice, and there should not be any kind of, I would say, any kind of, favoritism or any relaxation for these perpetrators. And I'll tell you one thing. There is, in Pakistan, there is a capital punishment for the rapist, and we have just given just a few weeks ago, Pakistan court has given a capital punishment to the rapist, which Elon Musk appreciated, and across the world it was appreciated. I agree with Sushil Saab that the criminal justice system in UK is on shambles.
This is not about the criminal justice system being in shambles in the UK. It's about the mindset of these individuals. Why are you not naming the perpetrators, Mr. Hamid Khan?
Let me, that's what I said. Let me complete my thing. There is no doubt that anybody who's involved in it must be brought to justice. But at the same time, there is, if you go through the whole records and everything, one thing is very clear, that it is not about the Pakistanis, it's not about the religion.
It is about Pakistani men, sir. It is about everything in this report is about Pakistani men. And if this is your, level of sensitivity, then God help you, Mr. Hamid Khan. Mr. Juria, this is the kind of, mindset that we must confront and fight. People are still in denial.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's of course about the 250,000 white working class girls, children that we are thinking about today. But also, as a member of the Indian diaspora, the Hindu diaspora here, I must point out that even the British Hindu community in the UK has been raising this since the last 20 years or more. In fact, in 2023, there were organizations like Hindu Support Network and Insight UK, which conducted more than or nearly 30 workshops across the country to build awareness within the community, Hindu and Sikh community, about how these predominantly Pakistani Muslim men were targeting Hindu and Sikh girls all across the country. So it is very strange to hear Hamid Khan say that this is not about Pakistani Muslim men. The report, not just this one, but the previous reports as well, clearly state that there is a cultural and an ideological faith and ideology which is behind the kind of rapes, the gang rapes, the grooming that we have seen. Similar things have happened to Hindu and Sikh girls, and it's continuing to happen in schools across UK where Hindu children are being bullied and are being forced to convert. It is the same faith ideology, it is the same principle, and what Hamid Khan displays, the same clannish, it's tribalism where you protect and justify the raping of non-Muslim women. Anybody who is non-Muslim is worthy of this or deserve this, or it can be justified. This is the problematic ideology which is behind what we are seeing today through this report.
And this was not some, random crime. Tushar, you have the last word.
No, absolutely not. This is a creation of Pakistani men and Bangladeshi men and men who want to sort of make UK their new crime hub. But the political wokeness of the establishment there really surprises me, Pranesh. The kind of system there is, it's almost like they have given up their entire society to appease one minority community. And the minority community will not stop until they destroy the entire system there, destroy the population there. And then the crossfire are innocent young girls. And these are British girls, these are Indian girls, these are girls from all across the world. But such is the wokeness, the word is wokeness and stupidity of the British establishment that they're just blind to all this. I don't know how many sacrifices will it take for the British establishment to wake up, because for all the mongering they used to do about how developed their society is, how evolved their society is, it looks they're worse than the species of the primitive ages right now.
And when will Mr. Starmer, Sir Keir Starmer, break his silence on this? Will he just, brush this aside, whitewash it, deny all this? That is the question. I want to hear the British Prime Minister talk about this. This is about, he should be talking about it more than we are. But it's also the larger ecosystem that is not outraged by the kind of things which is mentioned in the report. For want of time, we'll have to wrap this. But I promise viewers that we'll take this up again tomorrow or day after till we reach that sense of closure and justice for 250,000 girls. Imagine the number. Thanks for watching. The news are with Navita Kumar on the other side.